Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring qwerty's qwertyu. qwerty is our red Zerg in the bottom right hand side, and his opponent is NoN forsakeNXE. He is our blue Terran. Forsaken is in very high masters, I believe, on the American server. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But I know he was in Grandmasters a short time ago. And then we have qwerty, and it's red versus blue, so you can only assume that this is a ladder match, which is great. Especially, what else is great is this new and improved Newkirk Precinct. Oh man, it's such a great map now that they've added in the secondary pathway. They've just really revamped the entire thing while keeping it very familiar. It was basically just improvements across the board to the map. I love how much more open space there is. The third's a lot less defensible, but this one now is a viable alternative to it. And then they added in the secondary pathway, making it so that that this third's a little bit more exposed. This fourth is a little bit more viable, but also more exposed. It's nice. I like it a lot. I also like how squat everything is down here. You have space to maneuver your medevacs, but then you get over to the actual main and you're kind of within range of stuff, because I think the medevacs can't actually fly down here. I think like the furthest they can go is right here. So yeah, it's very, very cool, very, very clever. I love this map. I'm excited to see a Zerg versus Terran on it, because who doesn't love that matchup? That's such a great matchup. So we got the barracks coming down. We got the single gas already coming out. Gas is going to be finishing just moments ahead of the barracks, which leads me to believe it's probably going to be a Reaper opening. I wasn't paying attention to the actual gas timing, but we will be paying attention to what's coming out of that barracks first and foremost. Reaper opening, of course, very, very powerful. Lots of terrain to move and abuse, but the other end of that is that it could be a factory opening. Simply because, who doesn't love starport and medevac harass on this sort of map, and also a lot of open, free area to abuse with your Hellions. But nope, Reaper opening because this map kicks ass. Got a lot of ramps, got a lot of hills that you can kind of use and abuse just to pop up to see exactly what qwerty is getting onto. 15 hatch, 15 pool, going to be finishing up pretty much at the exact same time, getting that overlord a little bit early so that he has the extra supply to double out those queens. Drone taking a bit of a backward pathway just to check out the proxy locations, just to see if there was a barracks hidden anywhere, but no. Forsaken's actually playing this one pretty close to the chest, bringing that Reaper out. Going to see exactly what is going on. Double queens started back at home for qwerty as the CC goes down. What is he going to be doing with all that extra gas? He's got 100 of them saved up. I can only assume that we're going to be seeing a factory in just a couple of seconds. Still no add-on on the barracks. Leads me to believe there's not going to be a lot of early aggression coming out of Forsaken. Nice pulling off the SCV from the command center just to keep that SCV alive so it can actually fight back. Reaper being kind of cantankerous, but it hasn't gotten a single kill just yet. Still pretty much even on the workers kill tab, but he sees everything. He sees that there's no gas queen at every hatchery. Actually, I think that queen had just popped out right when that Reaper was leaving, so he didn't see the queen, but he didn't see the gas either, so he knows that he's going to be seeing a third in a very short period of time. Gas has still not been tapped for qwerty, so yeah, we will be seeing a hatchery sooner or later. He just blew 300 minerals on all those queens, so you can't expect him to be exactly booming to throw down that hatchery, but he's up to, healthy number of minerals. Reaper's got to be careful. It doesn't want to be taken down. He really wants to keep that alive so he has the opportunity to scout later on. 4 hit points, barely gets it away. Zerglings were a little bit lazy, just kind of hanging out on the top. Wow, third CC being thrown down already. Wow, that is very, very aggressive coming out of Forsaken, just because, like I said, the viable bases for the third, very exposed. It's in an area that you're going to naturally defend with your army, so that's handy, and also because the CC's right here, you kind of have a pseudo choke right here, so I expect we're going to be seeing a bit more of a mech play, just because of how aggressive he is getting that expo. He's not really being super aggressive on his tech, getting out those Hellions, getting a stim also. Yeah, I would say that this is probably leaning more towards mech than anything else, but it's still very, very early. Pretty ballsy of me to say that. I really don't have much to go on that one, but we will see. Wow, those 2 queens really want that Hellion, that Reaper dead, and they succeed on that one. Really tough for those queens to actually kill it without being on creep. However, they've left the front door totally wide open. You can see that the queen and those Evo chambers, everything was kind of scrambling to make sure that run-by didn't happen. But with only 2 Hellions out on the field and another 2 joining them shortly, there really wasn't much damage that Forsaken could have done in that in that period of time. Getting 2 more Hellions. Wow. Once he gets up that critical number, he'll be able to do a run by with a lot of damage, but these queens are having none of it. Targeting down 1 Hellion, targeting down the 2nd Hellion. Oh my goodness, those queens are unstoppable. Holy crap. 3rd has been taken with pretty much nary a word from Forsaken. Roachmorn going down. Is he going to be for a Roach bust? I don't know. He's got a lot of gas out. Actually, just the 2, so not a whole lot. I was expecting him to have 1 or 2 tapped back up at his main, but no, he hasn't grabbed either of those just yet. Upgrade-wise, totally blank for both players, but Stim is going to be finishing up very shortly for Forsaken. 11 drones on the way. Hasn't even started speed yet. Speaking of speed, this Overlord showing us the meaning of haste. Suicide and seeing the double Evo chambers. He's going to know that he's not up against a massive threat anytime soon. Yeah, look at that. Immediately starting the lair. He knows that with the double Evo chamber there, he doesn't have to worry about super aggression coming out from Forsaken. And Forsaken playing this ballsy. Look at this. He's got a single barracks with a tech lab and a single factory on the reactor. So, yeah, throwing down a lot of barracks. Just in case you were wondering, I'm totally wrong about this. It looks like he is going to be going for, you know, the traditional bio ground with, I guess, some Widow Mines thrown into the mix for some AoE support. If the barracks didn't tip you off to, the double eBay should definitely tip you off to that. Doubling up on those upgrades is really going to make his bio force a lot more intimidating than what you would expect. Here comes that run by. 3 of the Hellions managed to make their way inside, but the Roaches are already out on the field, and they are going to have no issues cleaning up that. 2 workers killed total in Forsaken, but remember, he's lost so many of those Hellions, 700 resources lost, and the 4th has been secured by qwertyu. 3rd is also taken, but look how many, the defensive location of all these queens. This is the major benefit of getting 4 queens out. Not only does your economy just leaps and bound forward, however, you also have the added bonus of being able to lock down any Hellion aggression, any Reaper aggression. No, you don't have to worry too much about Banshees either, just because they're so very sturdy and they can really shell down anti-air as well as anti-ground damage. So yeah, queens are great, man. Queens are probably the best unit in the game. You heard it here first. They're good. I like them. Loading up the SCVs in the bunker. I do not understand that. Maybe he's thinking about transitioning them over and has forgotten to lower the supply depot, or maybe he just wants them. I don't know. I do not get that at all. Probably just a misclick. Don't read too much into it, folks. Combat shield also going down. +1/+1 going to be finishing. We've got really great creep spread. Look at this creep spread. This is booming. Another benefit from the best unit in the game, those queens, is this ridiculous creep spread, and with that, the centrifugal hooks for the Banelings are really going to be very effective against this bioforce that we can see beginning to form. qwertyu is really just macroing like a champ. Already up on 4 bases. What is his drone count? 77, totally where it needs to be. Probably a quarter round of drones is going to tap him out right at 80. But regardless, he's got so many macro hatches. He's probably just going to be taking a 5th. On his way up to Hive. He's not on Hive just yet. Still on the lair tech, and really is just kind of stuck on this tier 1.5 infrastructure. I mean, he's got the Baneling Nest, he's got the Roach Warren, and the lairs, and that's it. I don't think he's gotten the Roach speed just yet. Needs to throw it on a Spire or an Infestor Pit, because Forsaken is not wasting any time. He's got a very intimidating bioforce. And the Banelings and Zerglings might not be enough to actually hold this back, provided that the Widow Mines actually get their strikes necessary. And remember, Widow Mines do world's good damage on defense. They burrow somewhere where there's a nice choke, and yeah, this revamped map doesn't have a whole lot of chokes for the Widow Mines to kind of abuse. But if you can bait those Zerglings into those Widow Mines, or worse, the Banelings into those Widow Mines, you can just absolutely ravage this composition coming out from qwertyu. So it's really going to be on top of Forsaken to do the damage necessary. It's all about placement for his Widow Mines. He's got to be very careful. Great splits from qwertyu, keeping alive probably twice as many Banelings as you would expect, and the majority of his Zerglings. They still lost a lot. Absolutely, definitely lost a lot. Don't discount that. However, this push that was very intimidating coming out from Forsaken really got cleaned up by qwertyu, and he has a massive force left alive. He's actually making them into Banelings right now, and is going to be doing some aggression back at home, flying his medevac right over 2 different Spore Crawlers and a Queen, taking quite a lot of damage. It looks like that one's going to go down, only dropping 3. At the same time, the Zerglings sweep in, force the lift off at the 3rd, and the Baneling bust is going down back at home. So many bunkers are being thrown down, but is it going to be enough? qwertyu decides to retreat. content on keeping Forsaken just on 2 bases just for the time being. Good play there. Good play there, because he was just going to lose every single one of these as he moved up into the meat grinder. And for absolutely nothing. Maybe he'd get a handful of SCV kills by actually pushing up in there. And in reality, you don't really need to do that much damage if you can keep Terran contained just to 2 bases. Another drop, another failed drop, not really doing too much damage to the economy. Only 2 workers killed, 1 worker killed, but this is far more damaging to the economy, the orbital being lifted off, especially if you factor in the fact that there are 68 harvesters and only 2 mineral lines. That is a lot of wasted supply, a lot of wasted money that Forsaken needs to start using. He needs to start using those SCVs for something other than just taking up supplies. Oh, scouting the double drop going off to the right-hand side. A lot of creep already in that area, a lot of spores already in that area, and remember we have a healthy plethora of queens, as well as some zerglings just kind of hanging out. So that drop's probably going to get cleaned up faster than you can say spit. Yes, those zerglings just moving in there. Oh my goodness, 3-3 already coming out for Forsaken, and we are still on 1-1 for qwerty, and that is major trouble. +2 has been started, +2 weapons, and another strike in here, another lift off for the third, another cleanup of pretty much everything on the ground. However, at the same time, Forsaken has found the sweet spot to drop off his Marines, and it looks like another hot pickup. A handful of them are going to get cleaned up by the zerglings before they lift off, but one of the medevacs has gone down. Still, the third is getting ravaged. Still, a handful of supply depots are going down, but not the worst thing in the world. I mean, especially because there's no detection to clean up those widow mines, and eventually qwerty's going to get sloppy, and he's going to take a massive widow mine shot, and that's going to get cleaned up. However, every second that goes by, qwerty is at max, and Forsaken's not. qwerty is beginning to bank a lot of money, and Forsaken's not. So, yeah, qwerty has this game well in hand. He's definitely got an economic advantage. He's still very behind on tech, though. He's just now getting out that Spire. He's just now getting out those Mutalisks. But there goes the Infestor Pit. That's what I was wanting to see. I want to see that Infestor Pit. I want to see that hive. I want to see him capitalizing on the fact that he's got this advantage. He needs to work on his tech as well as just producing a lot of low-tier units. Really got to be careful with all these overlords. Holy crap. I suspect that he just produced a wave of overlords and is moving them down into that area so that he can see any drops that are going to be coming there. Also moving up another flight into the top right-hand corner. Probably going to be splitting them up eventually. Just in case, you know, this drop decides to get frisky. Weird to see these medevacs totally empty and hanging out in that area, though. So many zerglings pushing in with so many banelings. 26 banelings on the production tab, +2 armor. Going to be only a quarter of the way done as 3-3 finishes for Forsaken. So Forsaken's going to have an elite commando force here. A lot of upgrades, not a lot of units itself. Huge baneling hit going down on those Mutalisks. Holy crap. And without detection, there's not a lot he can do against those Widow Mines. The Mutalisks are sweeping in, drawing so many massive hits. Look at that, like 5 Mutalisks just right there went down from that. 33 kills on that Widow Mine. Holy crap. But regardless, qwerty is so far ahead, economically speaking, that he can afford to lose that. He can afford to lose this hatchery up in the top right-hand side, too, because he's just got so much money. Well, he had so much money before he spent it all on 40 Zerglings and his Hive Tech. Hive Tech is coming out. Third is going to be resecured, but that's only going to last as long as qwerty is distracted by this drop going off into the top right-hand side. Definitely not going to be doing enough damage to put Forsaken totally back into this game. He's definitely still very much behind. However, he is doing damage. He is distracting qwerty, making it so that qwerty can't keep this advantage, and every second that goes by, Forsaken stabilizes just a little bit more. He gets out some more units. Actually, that's all he's doing right now. He doesn't need to build any more tech because he's got a good amount of tech right now. He's got 3-3 on the field. He's got good infrastructure, and he's producing off of what he can afford right now. He needs another base. He needs to keep his third saturated for an extended period of time so that he can afford to throw down more units. He can afford to throw down another starport and double up on the medevac production, or maybe another factory and get out some more widow mines or something like that. Oh, gotta be careful. Got to be careful. These splits need to be glorious for these Marines to survive for a second longer. There goes the splits. Pretty good, actually. Really good. Surviving all those banelings, leaving it so it's just Marines, which are 3-3 against the 2-0 for the roaches, and you can just see how incredibly fast those highly upgraded Marines and Marauders melt away those roaches. And this is qwerty's fault. I mean, he's got so much money right now. He can definitely afford to have these eco chambers going off and researching stuff. especially because he's on Hive Tech. Where is the Ultralisk Cavern? Where is the 3/3 for those Ultralisks? That would chew this force alive. They eat Widow Mines for breakfast. And qwertyu has really let the advantage that he had early on kind of slip through his finger. Look at that production tab. There's nothing being produced for qwertyu and everything being produced for Forsaken. Desperately trying to get a cancel on this fourth. Not going to happen, as Forsaken finally has a army that is capable of going toe-to-toe with what qwertyu actually has out on the field. Remember, he does have +2 weapons, and these Banelings are going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage. I don't care how much armor those Marines have. They're still dead. So, yeah, I mean, qwertyu is definitely capable of pressuring this fourth, but with a Planetary Fortress finish there, it's going to be a tough nut to crack. I'm not going to lie. It looks like the Nutcracker is inbound in the form of so many of these Banelings. Is going to be pushing down to the third. Look at that creep spread. Pretty much already on top of the third. Oh, here comes the Banelings sweeping in. The Marines have no time to spread. Oh, man, quick stim for Forsaken. Just keeps them barely alive. A massive Baneling hit. Oh, raining down on those Marines. Another massive Widowmine hit was right here, kind of cleaning up every single one of those Banelings as they moved in, trying to crush pretty much everything in that area. Still 28/2 for the workers killed, so not very effective at stunting the economy, but it did force a liftoff, and he pressured. But man, qwertyu no longer has the massive advantage he has. Finally starting on that Ultralisk Cavern that I called for like 30 years ago. Which is bad. He needs that Ultralisk Cavern. He needs these upgrades, and he's not getting it because he had an advantage early on, and he tried to finish it off right then and there. And unfortunately for him, the end result was that he allowed Forsaken to get back into this game. He allowed Forsaken to kind of abuse the opportunities given him, and all of a sudden Forsaken's up on 4 bases, which is going to be a tough fight for qwertyu to take any one of those. Here comes the Baneling sweeping in. They've taken care of the majority of the strike force from Forsaken, but that's okay because he can just fall back on the infrastructure he's got back at home. And now that his economy is in full swing, he's constantly churning out more and more units. So it's okay for him to lose a handful of these cheap bio units. He's got the infrastructure back at home. He's producing a lot of Marauders in preparation for those Ultralisks. Look at that. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all tech-labbed barracks that are going to be producing Marauders, so he's going to be able to produce 4 of them at a time to deal with these Ultralisks. We have 5 of them on the production tab, but you know what we don't have is the chitinous plating. That's not been researched yet, so these Ultralisks are going to be coming out rather lackluster against 3/3 bio units. They're going to be 2/2. And, I mean, yeah, they're Ultralisks. They're going to have a glorious luster one way or another. They're going to be incredibly intimidating is what it is. Even with 7 of them coming out right now, we can just see that qwertyu doesn't have a huge bank. He doesn't have a lot of Zerglings that are going to be supporting these Ultralisks. Ultralisks themselves cannot win you a fight. They need to be supported by other units such as Infestors or Zerglings in order to hold the Bioforce in place and allow the Kaiser Blades from the Ultralisks to actually do the damage necessary to justify their existence. Another drop going off into the Hive Tech, and it looks like all these Ultralisks are going to be pushing into the creep right now. Hot pickup from Forsaken. He begins to retreat. 180, almost 190 over 130 for qwertyu. qwertyu has not succeeded in cleaning up that drop, but that's okay because here comes an Ultralisk trundling in, showing us just how devastating they are. Holy crap, what happened here? All of a sudden, qwertyu just decides to tap out, and I agree that he was definitely behind, but it's, yeah, I mean, he just kind of melted away. All of his Ultralisks just took massive hits, I suppose, and didn't really clean up the drop down here on the left side of that hive, and that is crazy. Like, Forsaken was ridiculously far behind. I'm actually curious about what exactly was the cincher for our good friend qwertyu. So I'm going to go back 1-2 minutes to actually follow those Ultralisks a little bit closer than what I was doing the first time. Times 2 it just for your viewing pleasure. Your viewing pleasure. Okay, so here comes the Zergling. Here comes the Banelings. And I should mention that this guy, Forsaken, he actually streams on Twitch, and I will link his channel in the comment section if memory serves me right. I do have that link. And, you know, this is the sort of game that you can kind of expect. Here's your Ultralisks. Here's them swinging in, and it looks like they're going to be taking the final fight in just 20 seconds now. Here we go. Okay, yeah, so it was only 4 Ultralisks, and it looks like they just take hit after hit after hit from these Widow Mines, and that was qwertyu's entire hopes in that just one basket, and there it goes. 3 massive Widow Mine hits. Stutter Step Micro proved too much, and they all just melt away, and with that, qwertyu just immediately taps out, which is cool. I feel like qwertyu had a hard time keeping pace with the macro that he set up. He had a massive lead at the start. He had 4 bases against 2. He was doing an excellent job keeping this third totally locked down. And then he just didn't stay on top of his upgrades. He's still on 2-2. He needs to be on 3-3 by the time he hit Ultralisk. You've got to. He stuck around way too long on Zerglings and Roaches and Banelings, and it was working for him. He was doing a lot of damage, but he was just doing that. He was just doing a little bit, just doing damage. And he wasn't stopping Forsaken from progressing down his own tech path. So by the time he actually got that Spire up, his opponent was on 3-3. And at that point, he's so far behind on tech that even though he was ahead economically speaking, the advantage was not enough to justify the risk that he had taken initially. So that was a cool game. I like that. I was very surprised at how quickly everything spiraled out of control, because Forsaken was behind for 20 minutes out of that 25 minutes, and then just all of a sudden won the game. It was really neat. So kudos. Check the comment section to see his Twitch channel, and I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.